Hey dolls and gents, so I have done so many videos for you guys. I've forgotten one of the most important ones. Picking the right foundation shade for yourself. I know it can be hard, it can be so frustrating. I remember when I first started wearing makeup, I couldn't find one that matched my skin tone perfectly. I couldn't find one that looked natural. It just was annoying, and I know that when you first start off wearing makeup, everybody has different preferences. You might want something light, you might need something with a more full coverage. Everyone has different skin tones, different undertones. Everyone has a different preference when it comes to foundation. So, I'm going to do a video breaking down the different areas that you need to figure out for you to figure out what your perfect foundation is. Now, I'm not going to focus on any brands because it doesn't matter. We're not being brand whores right now, okay? This video has been requested 15 bajillion times, and I'm just now doing it. Sorry. Better late than never, right? Okay. So let's first, and I made notes. I'm such a freaking nerd, you guys. I make notes all the time, I'm a nerd. Anyways, I really wanted to get everything into this one video, and I know it's a lot of information, but I hope that it helps you guys because, yeah, this is the best way I can tell you guys, and I don't want to hold up foundations. I already have foundation review videos on different foundations and stuff. This isn't about any particular brand. This isn't about promoting anything. This is about helping you guys find your perfect foundation, okay? Your perfect coverage, your perfect consistency, your perfect undertone, all that good stuff, okay? So let's first start off with skin type. Now, there are 3 different skin types. You can either have an oily skin type, and that means that you basically just get really, really shiny all over your face on a regular basis. Your sebaceous glands are working a lot more than other people's are. This pretty much means you got oily skin, okay? Now, you're either oily or you're dry. If you have dry skin, you have patches, you have flakiness, you have just dry skin, and then combination is normally when you are oily in your T-zone area and then you're dry around the edges. Now, if you have dry skin, you definitely don't want to use any matte products. No powders, no matte foundations, period. If your skin is dry, this is just going to cause excess flaking, it's going to make your skin look drier than what it is. You want to use something that's more hydrating, like a tinted moisturizer, a moisturizing balm, or a cream foundation, something that is very, very moisturizing. And you could even do something with oil in it, because oil isn't going to make your skin break out like oily, acne-prone skin would do. Now, if your skin is oily, you definitely want something the opposite of what I said about dry skin. You want something that is going to matte out your face. You want powder. You want a liquid foundation. You want a mattifying foundation. You want something that is going to prevent your face from looking even oilier. Now, people with dry skin normally want that dewy look. You want your skin to look dewy, fresh, and just glowy. If you have oily skin, you don't want your skin to look dewy. You want it to look more matte because you know as the day progresses, it's going to look dewy anyway. Okay, now, if you have combination skin, you don't have to worry about any of what I just said. You have the best skin. No, just kidding. But seriously, you can wear whatever foundation you want. You can do matte, you can do powder. Matter of fact, I tend to have more combination skin because I have some dry areas and some oily areas. It depends on my mood. Sometimes I like to matte out my face. Sometimes I like the dewy look. But I normally always set my T-zone area because that area tends to look oily no matter what I do. Next, I want to talk about undertones, and I think this is one of the hardest things to pick a foundation for women of color because I know that the undertones and foundations aren't always right, especially with drugstore foundations. So you gotta definitely get the undertone right. You could have the shade dead on, but if it's too yellow, too red, too orange, you're gonna have a problem, okay? So there are 3 different types of undertones. You have warm, which is a more red clay, I like to call it the Georgia clay undertone. You have a more peachy, reddish undertone. If you're on the lighter spectrum, you're more peachy. If you're on the darker spectrum, you're more red undertoned. Now, if you have a cool undertone, that means it's more grayish, more blue, more cool, more yellow. So if you're lighter, you have a more olive undertone. If you're darker, you have a more yellow undertone. Now, neutral. Most people fall in between warm or cool. You're either always going to be a little bit more yellow or a little bit more red. There are some people that fall into that neutral category where, you know, neither one fits. So some companies do have neutral where it's not red, it's not yellow, it's just like a set standard color, and you would fall in between there. Now, to figure out whether you're more red, more yellow, more neutral, whatever, I like to look at the back of here. If it's more golden, then you're a yellow undertone. If it's more reddish, then you're a warm undertone. This is what I do. This is what I do with my clients. It always works for me. Okay? The next thing is you want to think of consistency of makeup, your finish. And I know I talked about this, I touched on this. Either have a powder, which is best for oily or the mid zone of combination skin. You could have liquid foundation. Liquid foundation can be worn on dry skin. It can be worn on oily skin or combination skin. I find liquid foundation is very universal depending on its consistency, because liquid foundation can either be a satin, which is most realistic to skin, or it can be matte, or it can kind of leave like a dewy. Depending on your skin type, as we talked about before, will depend on what type of liquid foundation you will want to wear. Now, there's also a tinted moisturizer, which is very good for oily skin because it's very light, and it's very good for dry skin because it's very moisturizing. And cream foundation. Cream foundation is best for dry skin because it's very moisturizing, and it kind of moisturizes, and I feel like it kind of heals your dry patches, your dry spots on your skin. So I definitely recommend that for dry skin types. You got to think of coverage, whether you want your foundation to be light, medium, or full. If your skin is very good, do the bare minimal. Do a tinted moisturizer, powder, out the door. Light foundation. If your skin has a little bit more to cover up, maybe you have some dark circles, maybe you have a couple of blemishes, go for a medium. And medium is going to be a liquid foundation, some powder foundations, and cream foundation. Now, it depends on what type of cream, because most cream foundations are very heavy, but there are cream foundations that you can sheer out. And most foundations are buildable, so if it's a light foundation, most of the time you can build it up to a full coverage, or if it's a full coverage foundation, you can sheer it out by adding moisturizer. Now, full coverage, that's for somebody who, has acne scars, and you're trying to cover up a lot. You have scarring. This is for somebody who has had a lot of skin trauma. And there's some people who have good skin who like just full coverage foundation. And if that's you, then you definitely want a cream or a liquid foundation, something that's buildable, that can get you up to that full coverage, the kind of coverage that you want and need. Now, you've got to decide whether you want your foundation to be long lasting or not, whether you want it to have SPF or not. If you're going to take pictures, you don't want a foundation with SPF in it because it's going to cause a white cast on your face. It's not going to look good in photos, so you definitely don't want that. But if you're using this foundation for an everyday basis, you definitely want it to have SPF in it to protect your face, because if you don't protect your face with sun protectant, it's going to make any spots on your face darker, and it's going to make you age faster. If you are the type of person who works long hours, 8 to 10 hours per day, you want a long lasting foundation. You want a long wearing foundation because you don't want to touch up your makeup during the day, okay? So you've got to decide. Most longer wearing foundations are more of a matte finish. So if you have dry skin, you might want to watch out for that. Instead, you might want to use a primer, or you might want to use a setting spray. I will talk about this in different videos. I know I covered a lot of different areas today, and I was going to show you guys products, but it's not about the products. It's not about, okay, what do you use? You need to figure out your skin type, your undertone, whether you want a long wearing foundation or not, whether you want it to have SPF or not, where you're wearing this foundation to. You need to figure out what kind of finish you like and what kind of coverage you need. When you figure out and answer all these questions, you'll be able to determine what brand and what type of foundation to go to, okay? You first need to figure out what you're looking for, and then you can go get it. You can go to a MAC counter, go to a Bobbi Brown counter, go to Sephora and ask the makeup artist, hey, I have this type of skin, I have this undertone, I want this amount of coverage, I want it to be matte, dewy, or whatever, and then they'll be better off helping you, because I know it just gets so overwhelming going into Sephora and there's all these foundations, and you want a foundation that's going to be good for you. Like, I just buy foundations because that's what I like to do, but I mean, the typical woman, you need 1, 2 foundations, that's it. You don't need more than that. So you definitely want to get what you're looking for, and you want to use your money wisely. So I hope that I was able to help some of you guys out who always ask, I need help trying to find a foundation for me. I don't know how to do it. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. If you enjoyed it, please thumbs it up, and I will be back with more videos. I love you guys. Bye.